Hey Hattiesburg, thanks for joining us for this COVID-19 and city news briefing for Wednesday, August 25th. We'll start with hospitalization numbers for Merit Health Wesley and Forest General. Combined, we have 154 people who are in the hospital for COVID between our two hospitals, and of those 154, 40 are in the ICU, and of those 40, 17 are now on ventilators. As you can see, we hit a spike last week. We've come down a little bit. That number fluctuates from day to day. ICU numbers still around as high as they've been since it started. And I'll also just once again remind you, if you look at the spike on the right, which is where we are now, and compare it to the spike in the middle, which was around Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then the spike to the left, which was last summer, you can see just how worse off we are now compared to those two other spikes, even with the bit of the downgrade that we've seen in the last week. Just some notes on the hospitalizations. Of the 154 people who were hospitalized today, 14 were fully vaccinated. Of the 40 in the ICU, only 4 were fully vaccinated, and of the 17 on ventilators, only 3 were fully vaccinated. A hard week for us so far in terms of deaths. Forest County has seen 9 new deaths since Friday, bringing this total to 193. Lamar County has seen 6 new deaths since Friday's briefing. That brings it to 102. So 15 total deaths in our metro area since Friday. We send our condolences to those families. New cases reported today. Forest County had 131. Lamar County had 68. Yesterday we had around 80 in the 80s in Forest County, which was the best single day that we've had since August the 4th. But again, that reflected tests that were mainly on Sunday. So to see this number go up to above 100 again is not a great sign. The inside 14-day number. This is the number of people who have been tested positive in the last 2 weeks. Gives you kind of an idea of how many active cases we could have in our community. Forest County is 1716, Lamar County at 1210, bringing the total to 2926. Now, compared to a week ago, that number is down slightly. But just to give you context, 1716 now. Back in the early part of this year, that number is at 1300. So just to see how much far above we are of that last spike over the winter. Lamar County down almost 90 inside 14-day, and we're back under 3,000, which, while still abysmal, is better than where we were a week ago. Compared to hospital, 177 to 154 over the past week. ICU cases up 1, 39 to 40. Vaccination update, just in terms of where we stand with that. Forest County is now at the 30% mark of fully vaccinated, with an additional 7% who have received 1 dose, including 625 since our last briefing. Lamar County, 44% now fully vaccinated, with an additional 10% who have received 1 dose, and they've seen 701 people since our last briefing go in to get their shot. Those are all positive signs. So this morning we had our weekly conference call with not only our healthcare organizations, but also emergency management, local elected officials, as well as our universities and community college and our school districts and tourism that we've been having since March of last year. And there are a few things we didn't want to call it marginal improvement because we're still in a territory that we shouldn't be. But the pace of bad news has slowed down a bit. And so just to call any positive sign that we can find right now, it's important that we call that out. So we're going to call this marginal progress. A few things just to note. Hospital cases, as we mentioned, are down from the August 19th peak, 180 down to 154, which has opened up some hospital capacity, though as of this morning, Merit Health Wesley was still in overflow when it came to their ICU. I think Forest General had 1 ICU bed. Acute beds have opened up a little bit, but that's really because of the stopping of elective surgeries, which is not a sustainable solution. The overall case numbers and positivity rate are down slightly. Just in the Hattiesburg Clinic system, the cases were at 1,042 in a single week 2 weeks ago. They dropped to 883 last week. The positivity rate, we've seen similar declines, still way higher than we want to be, but 25% positivity rate 2 weeks ago, down to 21% last week, 19% this week, though we're only 3 or 4 days in. So again, you got to call progress where there is. As Governor Reeves mentioned yesterday, federal assistance is going to start arriving around hospitals that requested it around the state. That assistance in terms of staffing is arriving slowly to our 2 hospitals, but we do believe there will be additional staff on the ground by Friday with the goal of Each hospital wants to open up more ICU beds, think about 10 apiece, as well as additional acute beds as well, so they can help take care of COVID patients and give some staff that they have now some relief. Both of our hospitals we're seeing increased capacity for monoclonal antibody treatment. Forest County is close, if not already getting all of their ancillary clinics out in the rural areas capacity to do monoclonal antibodies. Hattiesburg Clinic received 2 federally funded paramedics to increase their weekly capacity to 400 total. They're doing these antibody treatments 7 days a week now. Merit Health Wesley, in addition to their hospital, now has it in their Leakesville office, trying to get it at more of their clinics as well. So those are positive signs. And then finally, we heard this doesn't apply to every school district, but most of our schools saw fewer positive cases among K through 12 students. Again, way higher than they want to have, which are mainly coming from weekend and evening social events. But we're not seeing the same rush among most of our school districts as we saw after the first 2 weeks of those who started early. So again, I wouldn't call these improvements, but I think they're marginal. There's notes of marginal progress that we need to mention and hope that we can continue to build on those. Ways that you can help and minimize your risk for COVID-19 is get a vaccine. That we continue to push. As you saw earlier this week, Pfizer was officially approved by FDA, and I know that those who were using that as an excuse will now come flooding in to get their shots. Wear a mask, and then of course avoid large gatherings. That's how you can keep from being affected by COVID-19. However, if you are infected and you test positive, please immediately go check on the availability of monoclonal antibody therapy. 70% of the people who get this therapy who qualify can avoid being seriously ill, going to the hospital, or worse. Just to give you some notes on that, if you're tested positive by the Hattiesburg Clinic system, the physician will reach out to you, and an order can be placed through the Cough and Fever Clinic where you can get that treatment, or you can go down and call 601-261-1533 if you're in Hattiesburg Clinic. Merit Health Wesley, again, that's located at a limited number of locations, but you can call 268-5280. And then again, Forest Health now has this at all of their Marion County campus, Highland and Picayune, Pearl River County Hospital, and then Jeff Davis and Walthall hospitals. You can call 288-4444 for more information on that. One note on testing, the Forest County Health Department has moved their testing away from their office at the bypass down to the Forest County 361 safe room. They're still doing vaccines on Mondays and Tuesdays at their health department office, but for now the testing has moved down to the safe room at 946 Sullivan Drive. There are PCR tests as well as rapid tests, and they can accommodate up to 300 people per day. However, you do need to schedule an appointment at covidschedule.umc.edu. Also, testing will continue at C. Roy Community Center Wednesdays and Saturdays. There are PCR tests, but I do believe that they are getting some rapid tests now that supply is opened back up. That'll be from 8 to noon Wednesdays and Saturdays. And one more reminder, testing is not a reason to go to the emergency room. We know hospital capacity is still very tight, and they are holding people in the hospital that don't have a bed yet. And so going to the hospital just to get a test is putting yourself and other people in jeopardy if you are infected. So please utilize every other avenue that you have to be tested, and then request those monoclonal antibodies through one of the areas that we mentioned earlier to avoid going to the hospital at all. A couple vaccine opportunities for you this weekend. Twin Forks Rising Community Development Corporation is teaming up with the Osceola McCarty Youth Center in the East Jerusalem neighborhood to do a vaccine clinic from 10 to 2 at 607 McSwain Street. They will have the Pfizer and the J&J, and if you go and get your vaccine, they'll have a $25 gift card available. If you have questions, you can call 601-336-7940. But again, that's this Saturday, 10 to 2 at the Osceola McCarty Youth Center at 607 McSwain Street. Also, the Forest Perry County Drug Court team and SEMRI are hosting a vaccine clinic Monday, August 30th from 9 to 5 at 316 Forest Street. That is the old jail. That will be the Pfizer vaccine. All participants will get a gift bag. You can call 545-1321. But again, that's Monday, August 30th, 9 to 5 at 316 Forest Street, sponsored by the Forest and Perry County Drug Court team and SEMRI. Some city news for you today. Today, paving crews moved to Franklin Road, which is over by the Merit Health Wesley campus. This is a road on that campus that is a city-owned road that's been needing paved for a long time, so we're glad to see this project go forward. Our act of courage, we have two for you today. First of all, I want to thank the team at Sacred Heart School who vaccinated 125 students and family members this past Saturday. All of our schools do a great job in promoting vaccinations. We appreciate Sacred Heart specifically for setting up their gym to host this with the clinic, and so 125 vaccines given. That's a good day. Also, want to thank the staff of the Hattiesburg Clinic, Cough and Fever Clinic, the Immunization Clinic, as well as those who are at C.E. Roy. Between vaccines and testing and antibody therapies, served 1,400 patients over the weekend. These are people who work Monday through Friday, were asked to come in on Saturday, and their CEO, Brian Batson, wanted to give them a shout out as well. So thank you to all of our healthcare workers, particularly to our Hattiesburg Clinic team. As we go through the week, remember to wash your hands, take care of yourself, wear a mask when you're around others, get your vaccine most of all, be kind, have a great rest of the evening.